Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the PodUp with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. PodUp, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Got a really good show lined up today. We'll kick it off here in just a minute with our good friend Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. Second portion of the show today, we're going to be joined by a former Jacksonville Jaguar from the state of Mississippi, the SIP, Jimmy Smith, one of the great all-time wide receivers for the Jags, also in the National Football League. But first, let's kick it off with our good buddy of the show, Buddy Martin. Good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good morning, Shay. I'm doing great today. I'm all vaccinated, ready to go, ready to rock, and looking forward to March Madness. But I just need a little spark. Maybe you or Evan or somebody can get me a little fired up. I can't get too excited about March Madness.
Why not, buddy? I mean, think about it. Today, well, if you've been watching college basketball the last few nights, you know, some of the mid-majors, smaller schools have already punched their ticket. The conference tournaments crank up today. I think the ACC, tomorrow the SEC and Big Ten and all that stuff. So, buddy, this is a great time of the year, my man.
I hear you, and I'm trying to get there. I've been through a few marches in my life. This doesn't feel very good to me. And I've been to a lot of Final Fours and stuff like that. Love the event, but I just can't get into it right now. It's just not there's so many things, so many programs struggling. The Blue Bloods, the Gators, etc. The SEC, we don't know it's going to be Alabama. I mean, it's just a big cluster right now.
But that's what makes it exciting. And the Gators, I disagree about the Gators struggling, buddy, because we're in the dance. Kentucky is struggling. They ain't making it unless they win 4 straight games. Or is it 5? How many they got to win to go? 4 to win the tournament?
To win the overall, the SEC?
Yeah, and that's the only way they're getting in the tournament.
I think it's 4, but I'm not 100%.
Same way with Duke. I love watching Duke struggle, buddy, because
I know. He likes to inflict pain on the Dukies. I understand.
I do, because they are a bad basketball team. I don't know if you've watched them this year, but they're bad.
Couldn't stand to watch more than about 5 minutes of it. So
that tells you
I'm a coach. I like Coach K. I know your old coach, of course, is a former Dukie, and Duke has brought a lot to college basketball, Coach K, etc. I don't like to watch great programs disintegrating. You know, I don't know that Coach K will be retiring. He might. But when you look at, no Kentucky, no North Carolina, no Duke.
North Carolina's going to make it.
Well, they're going to make it, but now I'm talking about they're not the team they once were. I mean, I'm just can't get into Gonzaga. I like them okay.
Oh, they're good, buddy.
I know, but I'm not. I mean, hey, look, I get it. I'm just talking about I have teams I like. You have teams you like. Gonzaga is not one of mine.
I only got one. I only have one team I like. I have other teams that I watch and I say, man, they're damn good.
Yeah,
Gonzaga is one of the best college basketball teams I've ever seen in my lifetime. We'll see.
In a bad year. So,
well, buddy, they're so skilled. It's ridiculous. They got like 3 first-team All-Americans that start on their starting 5.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a lottery pick. They're loaded. They are loaded. Whether it was a full-blooded Kentucky being normal Kentucky, North Carolina, Duke, Gonzaga would still be your number 1 team. You can ask any basketball expert that.
Well, I didn't say that. I told you, asked me about March Madness, and I told you some of the lustrous off of it for me. Now, once I get to Sweet 16, I'll probably get a little more intrigued. But it's just there's something weird going around.
So you don't like the Loyolas of Chicago?
No.
Those types of teams making it to the Final Four?
No.
Yeah, well, I guess this goes back to Buddy's theory of the 4-team playoff and getting rid of all the schools that don't matter, right?
No. I mean, I like Cinderellas as a story. I love stories about the underdogs. I love them. And I'd love to see, look, one of the all-time underdogs, Jacksonville. I love Jacksonville. I covered that team, and I love those Cinderella stories. But you can't make a tournament up of Jacksonville's. You have to have more than that. And whatever it is, I'm just not feeling it, Shane. I just don't. Maybe it's because I'm out of coffee. This morning I'm having to drink tea because we forgot to order groceries. So I got to go order my coffee this morning. But anyway, it just doesn't feel like a great March to me. Now, will it become that? I don't know. I think I'm like the average fan. I think average fans feel like me. Yeah, they're glad it's here. They're hoping, but they're not as excited as they usually are in March. That's all. Now, I'm excited about other things in March, like on the Players' Championship. I know we're among the minorities like golf. A lot of people don't. But I love what happened over the weekend at Arnie's place. I'm excited about that. And I'm excited to see what other things happen. I'm trying to get my mojo going.
All right, buddy. We're going to have to put something in your coffee or your tea this morning and get you fired up. Because this is one of my favorite times of the year when the conference tournaments, then March Madness crank up. You got the Players, and then in a couple of weeks you got the Masters. So it's a 3-4 week stretch here that to me is very good for sports. And it's great. They're going to open up the arenas to some fans. Not sure exactly how many, but it should be fun. What do you got there, buddy?
Well, you should put something in your coffee.
Yeah.
Bradshaw bourbon. Bradshaw bourbon.
All right. Well, maybe that'll be a new sponsor for you there, buddy.
Yeah, Terry's selling this stuff all over the place. It's good stuff. Anyway, I'm ready. Go ahead. I'm gonna have a better attitude. Maybe you.
Okay, so I know I was on your show last night, which I do your shows now on Monday nights because you have a new show that we'll talk about here in a minute.
Right.
On Tuesdays, so I got booted off Tuesday to Monday night. You
didn't get booted off anywhere. You know what I mean? You're the star of the show. You just got moved to prime time, but.
Prime time, okay. Monday Night Football. So you were in the. Tell us about the presser and some of the questions you asked Coach Mullen the other day.
Yeah, well, I was not a great question to ask her. I like to listen. I asked him two things. And one, I asked him if having a team all 4 years is enough of an advantage. What would it do to the chemistry of the team? Like I tried to explain. They won it in 2006 when Urban was here, and people said, "Yeah, they won it with they won it with Zook's talent." And part of that was true. They had some terrific players, especially defensive line. The big uglies you like to talk about. They had a lot of good players there. And people said, "Well, they can't do it again because he won with somebody else." So, is there an advantage if you have a team for 4 years, which they did in 2008? Of course, won another championship. Now. Dan Mullen has mostly his players. There's a couple 6-year players and stuff. So if you subscribe to the theory that the Urban made a living off of Zook's players, then you have to say, well, if that's the case, then Mullen's team should be better because he got him for the 4th year. He played that off, and his comment was basically, once they're a Gator, we're all, I don't care when they got here and how they got here, we're all Gators, which is a good answer. But there is a little bit of truth to that. When you have your team, your program, your players longer, your odds of success are better, in my opinion.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, there's no doubting that, Ron Zook was a tremendous recruiter and had unbelievable talent when Urban came here. But look, Urban and his staff recruited some really damn good football players as well. So, and Coach Spurrier will tell you, too, that when he took over here, he had a lot of good players here.
So the first one to tell you that.
Yeah, and that's any coach. So I think, we just got to keep plugging away. I think Dan's getting the roster where he wants it. He's done a tremendous job in the transfer portal.
Yeah, he has.
I think once the football facility is built, it will help in recruiting. We just got to find a way to, we get a shot at Alabama this fall.
You think they can beat Alabama?
Whether we can – did you ask me, can we beat Alabama?
Yeah, can they beat Alabama?
Well, do I think we're going to beat Alabama? No. Can we? Yes, because, buddy, sports, anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? Alabama can come in here with their freshman quarterback. He could turn it over a bunch of times. They could fumble the football. We can make a bunch of explosive play. Anything can happen. So I'm not
asking you, can they beat Alabama? I guess I did say that. I'm going to ask you, will they beat Alabama? That's the bigger question because I know it's too early, but a lot of people are starting to talk it now. saying, okay, it's
Well,
going to
I
happen.
mean, we have to be realistic here. Alabama is the top dog. They're going to have the top talent in America. I don't know if we can beat them. But like I told you, that's why they keep score, and that's why you play the game. So anything can happen in the swamp on that date when we play them. Hopefully it'll be a packed house. You have a freshman quarterback.
Yeah, it will be a packed house. Yeah.
You're 100% sure it's going to be packed?
Well, no, but I think there's a good chance that by then, the way things are going, if you listen to some of the things going on, now I'm worried about the spreading happening in spring break. That's what worries me right now. But I think the numbers are trending downward, and they're talking. Everybody's talking, including Scott Strickland, about playing before a packed house. That might be the first one. What a setting! Alabama coming to the swamp, man, and Florida has a shot here. And Alabama doesn't have the QB they normally have. So,
well, that's true. But we said the same thing when Tua left. We said the same thing. They just replace them. Bryce Young was the number one quarterback in America coming out. Can he play at the next level? We shall see. But let me ask you this. So Alabama has already come out, and I think the state of Mississippi, both of those states are pretty much opening up to full capacity. And Alabama stated that they're going to have 100-something thousand people next fall. Do you think the SEC, the league office, needs to step in and say, okay, wait, Alabama, we're not going to allow you to have full capacity if Georgia or Florida or Vanderbilt can't have full capacity? Do you think it's a fair playing field?
It's a fair playing field. I don't think they can I don't think they can do it because they're going to say, we live in Alabama. Our governor says we're open. We're going by our rules. I don't know that Sankey has that much power. Now, I guess he does with the teams, but what is fair? I would say a level playing field is a lot fairer, but on the other hand, I can see the points of a state that says our governor says we're open. We can sell our tickets. We need to do what our state tells us. So it's going to be a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, it is. What else? I know Coach Mullen had talked a lot about it. We talked about it on your show last night about the arm strength of Emory Jones, which, again, who cares?
Fans care. Fans care.
I guess they do because we could throw a 75-yard Hail Mary. That does not matter. It's all about accuracy and anticipation, throwing a catchable football. I think Emory by far has a stronger arm than Kyle Trask. There's no question.
And he said that again yesterday.
But the decision-making, the accuracy, is that all there? We shall see. But Emory's going to be able to do a lot of things that Kyle couldn't do. So I don't know why people want to make a big deal about arm strength.
Because they're fans. They're fans.
I guess. But arm strength means nothing.
Shane, I'm going to have to coach you to a little tolerance, okay?
I can't handle that. I can handle fans, but when people worry so much about arm strength, it drives me insane.
Well, it's because there's certain simple things. I know you had a great career and you had let's say, above average arm at least.
I bet I had a below average arm, buddy.
You had an 85-mile-an-hour fastball. So,
I don't know about that.
But no, I get it. And by the way, Mullen has said this a number of times. Throwing the football was just a small part of being a quarterback is, all right? And Trask kind of proved that. He didn't have a great arm, a good arm. And look, we played eternity. And you didn't have a gun, but you were smart. You know where to put the ball. We've talked about this. I think the fans just want something to grab a hold of. Look, they haven't seen this guy. They really haven't seen him but a couple of plays at a time. They're wanting to know, can he get the ball down? Can he get the ball in there? And what you're saying is what I'm saying is, look, the coverages are going to be different. Why? Because he's the feet of Emory Jones. And by the way, Gary Kubiak once told me when he was playing with the Broncos behind John Elway, the great thing about John is he's got a great arm, but he makes a lot of big plays with his feet. And Elway did. Yeah. Makes him incredible. So I think, and his was, he had power and scramble ability and whatever. So I think Emory Jones is a bit of a mystery to a lot of people. They're wanting to see what's he got. And people, you can say what you want to, but things like 40 speed, which don't always count, matter to fans. Fans have a different mentality, and I get it. But you just have to understand they're interested. They're curious. Can he put the rock out there when he needs to?
Yeah. Refresh your vehicle and your brand with a vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot. March is your lucky month at Wrap Spot. Mention promo code Shane and receive 13% off your vehicle route. Speaking with Buddy Martin here on the Titan MR hotline from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be joined in the second part of the show by Jimmy Smith, former Jaguar. All right, buddy. So what are you hearing on the defensive side of the football?
Well, I like the talk I heard yesterday, because you talk about the guys you need on the edge, the guys you need to put pressure. I know you're like a broken record. You bring it up every show, and you're right. But there's other pieces on defense. I like big, strong, smart defensive backs. And I said on my show last night when I said what Florida needs is a Steve Atwater. I remember him from the Broncos. Great player from Arkansas, big, strong guy, could close, could cover, whatever. They haven't had that really great defensive back in quite some time. In fact, there's some people who think, like France Beer last night, what Florida needs is the Wright brothers, Lawrence and Major, hard-hitting safeties, guys who can knock your jock off, can still cover, who can lead and can get teams in their right alignment, and guys who are quarterbacks on the field. And I'm interested to hear more about this kid, McMillan. I've heard a lot of good things about him. Mullen talked about him last night. He said he's a strong safety. Obviously, he's got great size. I'm not sure what his size is. You never know with the physicality, how everybody grows in the back end of their career. He's playing safety for us right now. High energy guy, really plays hard. I mean, I like intelligent football players. He really is one of the things you see with him. Obviously, his dad's a coach. You can see that with his attention to detailed little things. So very promising about a guy I'd hardly heard of, Donovan McMillan. Let's see what he's got.
Yeah, you bring up the hard-hitting, strong safeties. I don't know if Lawrence Wright would have made it through half a season if he was playing nowadays, because he was so physical. He'd get kicked out of so many games for targeting. Yeah. I think those type of players, buddy, they're hard to come by now because guys are afraid to get thrown out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right. It's a good point. Yeah, you're right. They do. It is delicate. You have to hit the right spot. But you get my point. Guy can come up and tackle. Ahmad Black was not a hard hitter. He was a good hitter. He could tackle, smart, as Franz pointed out last night. Could get them in the right alignment. If they can get the defensive signals in on time, but he get them in a base defense and they know what to do. That's the difficulty of this defense, Shane. Drives me crazy, drives you crazy. If you can't line up, how are you going to stop anybody? They can't get lined up on time, and they're working on that, and they need to.
Well, I think they'll be fine. Again, I told you where I thought the defensive problems were from day one in August of last year, and the coaching staff went out and addressed that issue in the transfer portal with the two defensive tackles from Penn State
and the coaches.
And Auburn. That is the most important part of our defense right now. Yeah. Hopefully those guys can play at a high SEC caliber. That way, Zach Carter and Brenton Cox can do what they do on the outside. But those two guys, the addition of them were the most important off-season transactions that I think we've made. Because I'm telling you, last year, I watched that defensive line in two scrimmages, and I was like, there is no way we're going to hold up in the SEC. And that was a lot of the problems in the back end. People don't understand how it all goes together. But like I told you, you can have 4 Hall of Famers playing defensive back. If you can't put pressure on the quarterback with your front 4, it doesn't matter. So the defensive line is the key for this team going into next year, in my opinion. What else, buddy? Anything else come out of spring football?
We talked a little bit about leadership and who was calling the defensive signals 2 years ago, and how Ventrell Miller maybe is just learning that. He'll be better at it this year. I want to see someone be a leader on defense. Pretty much a routine conversation with Dan Mullen. I think, he's trying to figure out what his team is and what's he know, what's he asking what he knows and what he sees. And he just isn't ready to make that commitment yet. But I think his attitude was good. He brought up the word attitude, I counted 3 times, how much he liked the attitude of this team. And so he says, our guys love to play football. We have great energy. We like each other as a team. I think you can see the older guys' leadership trying to help the maturity. They need leadership. So I think he likes what he's seeing.
Yeah, and back to your point about not getting lined up. But not getting lined up last year, in my opinion, when I went back and watched all the tapes,
Yeah.
Well, I don't get to watch the game tape, but the TV copy. It's because we play too many players.
You mentioned that. That's a good point.
We try to keep too many guys happy with playing time. To hell with it. If you're a starter, you're going to play until you can't breathe and you tap your helmet and you come out for a play or two. But keeping guys happy because they need some playing time because you're worried about them transferring, to hell with that. Play your best guys. Then you don't have people running in and off. Now, the only time you should make changes if the other team changes personnel and you need to go to a dime or a nickel or what have you. But there's no reason for us having guys run in and out and every other series changing defensive backfields. Play your best players until they can't play anymore.
I'm with you on that.
My thoughts on it.
I'm with you.
But that has a lot to do with not getting lined up. If you
by the way,
you really watch the sidelines, how guys are coming off and on, that's the reason.
Yeah, I think that's true of the basketball team. They're playing too many guys. They can't play 10 guys. We've got to get down to basically an 8-man rotation. And to this spring, if they're going to have any chance of getting past the first round. Anyway, we'll see about that. But, yeah, you're right. That's a great point, Shane. You play all that many guys, you can't have your best players on the field at all times. And players do matter who you got out there.
Yep. I mean, play your best players. That's why they're called starters. The backups can play when the starters are tired. But just rotating every other series to get them playing time, who gives a damn about next year? Their turn will come next year when it's time for them to be a starter. Anyway, buddy, as we mentioned, Gator basketball. Okay, play Thursday. I think the second game, probably around 3:30 against
afternoon. Yeah.
So they're going to be the winner of who is it? A&M is playing Vanderbilt. We get the winner of that game.
Yeah.
You don't care. That's right.
No,
you don't
I
care,
really
buddy.
don't
You're
care,
not excited.
I'm not excited about March Madness. What does the SEC mean? I mean, SEC
now. None of the conference tournaments mean anything.
No, they don't.
Obviously.
No.
But a team like Florida who could make a run and win it.
They need to get it together.
Could go from an 8 seed to a 5 seed. You never know. Teams like Ole Miss, if they make a run, or Kentucky. So I love the tournament from that aspect. But here's the deal. Florida's in the tournament. I know everybody complains about Mike White this, Mike White that. But look, again, there's only been 9 universities, 9 coaches that have taken their team to 4 consecutive NCAA tournaments. And our coach is one of those guys. And it's getting ready to be his 5th straight. So I don't know what the hell these people think, because Florida is not a basketball school, buddy. What Billy did was unbelievable, probably will never happen again. Because like I've told you a million times, not you, but people, if you're a top-rated basketball player in America, is Florida even on your list?
Probably not.
Exactly. That's my point. For him to get Trey Mann, because he's a Gainesville kid, he grew up here.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a Gator. Now, Scotty Lewis was a 5-star or whatever. But
what has happened to Scotty Lewis? He can't make a free throw.
He's not a great shooter. He's a good athlete.
He used to be 80% free throw shooter. Now he can't make a free throw.
But I don't know what these people. It blows my mind. The problem with the Florida team is point guard play. We do not have a true point guard on the roster. That's why we have so many turnovers.
Yeah.
It is what it is. People can complain about the turnovers when we play Thursday. They can complain about there's nothing you can do because you don't have a true quarterback playing on this team.
You can't have 50 in the first half like they did.
You can, but what are you going to do, buddy?
I don't know.
What do you do?
No. I mean,
I
guess Trey Mann has to play the point guard. What you saw the other night was what the team. Imagine they didn't have Trey Mann. Keontae is out. Imagine if Trey Mann hadn't been there this season. I mean, without him, they totally collapsed. We're leading by 13 and lost by 11. And there's no Trey Mann because of migraines. So, yeah, there's some missing pieces, but I will give them credit. They have not quit. They competed. They lost their best player. When they take a hit like losing Trey Mann, they really are struggling. So maybe they'll catch a little fire. I'm going to try to have a better attitude. Maybe they'll be able to get past this first couple of games, get a little mojo, and maybe get it through a round or maybe 2 in the NCAA. I don't think they will, but this team sometimes looks like they're Gonzaga. And then other times they look like,
Oh, but we ain't look like Gonzaga.
Well, I mean, they've had bursts, though, where they played dominant. They've been dominant against teams.
We got a Facebook Live here brought to you by Mellon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Brandon says top players aren't coming to play football either. Well, that's not true.
No, it's not.
Here's let me preach one more time to the choir. we are one of the when you see top players listing their schools, Florida is usually in that mix.
Yeah.
But Florida is the only school in that mix that doesn't have what everybody else has, a football standalone facility.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact it matters. I don't care what they tell these recruit nicks. I don't care what they say on these shows. It matters because I've stepped in all these facilities that have been built at Alabama, Georgia, Clemson. I've been in all of them, and I'm blown away. And for a 50-year-old or whether you're a 17-year-old, people want that. You want to play at a high level of football where you can win a championship, but you want to have the best of the best. And Florida is not on an equal playing field until another year and a half, 2 years, when our kids walk in there and a recruit can walk in that facility, it's not going to be the same. And I mark my word, we will be in the game for all those guys once that happens.
Could be. I know that's a big thing for kids for sure. And so looking forward. I'm just glad they have a great facility in baseball. You know, they're not, I don't buy the theory they're not recruiting. I think they are recruiting, but they're roster building a different way. They're getting the missing pieces in the transfer portal. They're getting good players, really good players, and Mullen works on getting them better, making them better. And
that's true. But the Gator fans, when they look at the recruiting, buddy, they're only looking at it as because they're Gator fans.
5 stars.
Yeah, if I was being recruited, I grew up a Gator fan. I want to go play for the Florida Gators. Well, these kids being recruited have no ties to any of these schools. So they're going to look and say, okay, where can I play early? Who's putting people in the NFL? Who's playing for championships? And who has great facilities? Okay. I think Florida fits all those except the facility standpoint. It's not that I think, I know. So until then, it's just like, buddy, you sit down, you're a 17-year-old kid. It doesn't matter what Dan Mullen says to you or whatever. If you decide you want to go play for school X, you're going to go to school X. I don't know what people think these coaches can actually, how they can tell a kid or make up his mind for him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's one little thing in there that's come up, reared its ugly head again. The Georgia high school coach who brought it up.
I heard about that.
About the cheating that goes on. And you like it or don't like it. The fact is it does happen. I don't believe it's one of those things. They're all cheating and I'm not. A lot of times it's the alumni. The coaches don't want to know about it, but they do know about it. And it's something that goes on. Now you're hearing guys like this, Probst, is that his name? Coaching in Georgia, his players have all been recruited by Alabama and Georgia. And he says flatly they're paying players, you know, and you hear the stories, what's happening in LSU and the basketball team. And you think, man, it just seemed this can't keep going on, but it is. And I don't know if they're going to be able to police it. And it may be a part of the culture, which I just don't like, but it is a factor. I love Coach. One of the smartest things he ever said was, seems like Alabama scholarships are worth more than ours.
Yeah, it's a dirty business. There's no question. Speaking of LSU, I saw where Les Miles was fired from Kansas yesterday or last night or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a mess. LSU's got a mess on their hands in a lot of sports. Just be glad you're not a LSU Tiger fan. Buddy, before we let you go, we got the Players Championship coming up this week. You and I love to talk golf. I know we may lose some listeners when we talk
Nobody
golf.
Else.
If you don't like golf, folks, something is wrong with you. It's the greatest sport in the world because it doesn't matter what your age is. You can still go play, and there's set rules and play by those rules. Okay, so the Players Championship.
Yeah.
Give me your picks who you think are going to win.
Well, I'm going to give you my long shot first. Here's a guy that hadn't won it all. I love his game. He's in so many majors. He strikes the ball beautifully. When he's rolling the ball, he's a player. He's got finesse, not so much speed, not so much strength. But I just like Tommy Fleetwood as a guy.
Yeah. You like his hairdo, don't you, buddy?
Well, I mean, I'm okay with it. That's what he was. You know, they said his dad is bald. He said, I'm going to take advantage of this. Girl there he can get. But I'd never heard the guy interview. I don't know you know him. He's obviously a European. I like his game a lot. I just see him breaking through. But my 3 guys, and you know I love Bryson DeChambeau and have for quite some time. And I really enjoyed what I saw at Bay Hill. I know Arnold Palmer is smiling up there. But I'm going to go back to my wife's favorite player, Jordan Spieth. He almost had it. Couldn't quite get it. Couldn't quite roll that ball in a good enough. And then, of course, your boy, Dustin Johnson. If he wants to turn it on, he can dominate. So I've got Fleetwood as my long shot, Spieth, DeChambeau, and DJ is my favorites.
All right. I like DJ anytime he tees it up. I think he's the number one player in the world. He's the best out there. Here are my three guys, though. Colin Morikawa.
Who?
I think he's a stud.
I know who he is. I know.
He is a stud. Xander Schauffele. Another.
You're gonna stay with him, aren't you?
Well, he's a good player. He's sixth in the world. And then the local kid, Webb Simpson, with Paul Tesori, former Gator golfer, on his bag. He lives out there. He's been playing great golf. I think Webb Simpson can make some noise as well.
Wow, that's kind of off the wall.
Yeah, but he's highly ranked and plays well every week. I
don't like his. So. He didn't grow a beard.
He's got a little. Yeah, he's got a beard. I think they all got beards.
He didn't look good. It makes him look 20 years older.
Yeah,
okay, we'll see. So you got your three. I got them down: Simpson, Morikawa, and Schauffele. And I've got DJ, Jordan Spieth, and Bryson DeChambeau. Boy, I'm loaded. Man, I'm loaded. Don't you love seeing a guy like DeChambeau embrace the Arnold Palmer legend, wear the bent over
that was
cool. Just really loves me. I like his enthusiasm, his passion for the game, the mad science is part of the game. He's great for golf right now. He's got personality. And by the way, he's got the Arnold Palmer trait. You're too old to know about this. Ask your granddad about it. Arnold Palmer was known for going for broke, man. He was always a gambler. Go for it. He always went for it. DeChambeau's got that. I like that. Boy, him driving that green, and stuff. That was just great stuff.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how he plays Sawgrass.
Not his course. I understand.
Different type of course, but yeah, he's great for the game of golf because the average golfer or the person that doesn't really watch golf, what do they care about, buddy? Going to the driving range and seeing how far they can hit a golf ball, right?
He's John Daly. John Daly
back in those days was hitting it at like 300 yards. This guy's hitting it like 370.
Yeah, but it's different equipment.
Right, but that's what's great about him, and the person that doesn't play golf can relate to him or cheer for him because they probably don't understand the other part of the golf game. All they care about is how far can this dude hit it. And I'm anxious to see this week because the players, it's still over 7,000 yards, but it's a different type of 7,000 yards. It's more you got to hit it straight. You got to hit different types of shots, different clubs. I'm anxious to see what he does with some of those holes out there. If he
like
really
17.
Well, 17, he's going to get wedge.
No, but I mean,
but
you got to keep it dry.
When you get to 16, which everybody reaches 16 in par five and 2.
Yeah.
How far can he hit it and hook it around the corner?
Yeah.
And what kind of iron will he have in?
Wedge.
I think that'll be exciting for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see him play that for sure.
Yeah. So, all right. So I got Morikawa, Schauffele, and Webb Simpson. I was going to pick DJ, but heck, I could pick DJ. He's the number one player in the world. I could pick him every week.
Well, I don't. That's why I picked him. And I think, he can win any tournament anytime. It's a great player right now. There's some exciting young players out there. I really watching them come up. And just one final thought, that there's always been somebody who's been a bomber. Nicklaus in his day was a bomber. And, when Bobby Jones saw Nicklaus play Augusta first time, his quote was, he plays a game with which I'm not familiar. And, of course, now today, that's what they say about DeChambeau. He plays a game which we're not familiar because he hits it a ton.
Yeah, he does. All right, buddy, you got tell us everybody about your new Tuesday night show.
Yeah, we've got some really good, talented people, and who just happen to be female. Jackie Frangilli from Channel 20, formerly of Gators Territory, and Cassie Hill are doing their first segment tonight. Ultimately, they'll do the whole show, and they're called Double Coverage. And I know they got, at some point, they're going to have Patrick Young, either tonight or next week. And they're smart football people. They're really talented. I'm thrilled to have that on Tuesday nights now, where Shane retired from Tuesday nights. He wanted a new contract. He moved to Monday. He's replaced by not one, but two people. And I'm looking forward tonight to helping them produce their first show, ultimately their regular scheduled show, Tuesday nights with Jackie Frangilli and Cassidy Hill. double coverage. Don't miss it tonight, folks, on the Buddy Martin Show for now until we get their name changed.
Yep, no doubt about it. I want you to hear This Day in Sports, buddy. It's brought to you by Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. This month, get a free annual maintenance plan with every residential duct cleaning purchase, $199 value. Service departments open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for your convenience. Did you know what happened in 1897, buddy?
I know what happened, and no, I wasn't here then, despite what people say. I didn't cover the team, but I do know what happened 50 years ago yesterday in Madison Square Garden. But no, we talked about
I had that on my show, the fight with Muhammad Ali. In 1897, the Cleveland Indians fans started calling the team the Indians.
Right.
So in 1915, that became their official nickname.
Right. But no more.
What were they called before? I mean, they just. Do you have any idea what they were called?
I do not. I don't know what they were called. Do you?
I have no idea. Are they still the Indians? Because I know they were talking about taking that name away from them.
I think. Well, they're in the process of changing it. I guess I'm not really sure anymore. I don't know what is what. I mean, the Washington football team. I don't know. I would think it's going to happen eventually. Yeah, it's unfortunate that's how it's come out, but because a lot of us guys been calling these teams by their names for a long time. It's hard to get you, but I guess if you're going to change from the Oakland Raiders to the LA Raiders or whatever and change the cities, you could also change the nicknames. So the Indians in 1897, huh?
Yep, 1897. That's when the fans started calling that. So, buddy, appreciate it. Get excited, buddy. March Madness. Get you some popcorn and a cold soda pop. Sit down and watch. Maybe Duke plays today. That's your team. So I don't know if they play today.
Don't do that to me. Now your team stuff. Don't you do that to me? Yeah, I say one thing. Well, you like this, you like that. Your team. It's not my team. But I'd like to see the Blue Bloods in the tournament. It's better when they're playing. Then you get Gonzaga knocking off Duke or knocking off somebody that when they were good. That's what makes an underdog. So yeah, I'm trying to get excited. I promise you I'll do better next week.
All right, that's Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan MR hotline from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We're going to take our first time out. We come back. We'll be joined by Jaguar great Jimmy Smith. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
Hey Gators, this is Coach Steve Spurrier. PodUp with Matthews in the Morning. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. G-Tech Sport, keep your athletes in the game with G-Tech Sport. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Route Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TV Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Darshakow Insurance. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit podupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, Celebration Points, where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Dave & Buster's, Nike, Sushi Hana, Unzaline Day Spa, and coming June of 2021, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Visor's Rooftop Bar. We will see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. We're now going to go on the Titan MR hotline. We're going to be joined by former Jaguar great Jimmy Smith. Good morning, Jimmy. How are you, buddy?
Morning, Shane. Thanks for having me on, buddy.
Absolutely. Let's start young Jimmy Smith growing up in the SIP back in Mississippi in the Jackson area. You went to Callaway High School, and we were talking before you came on. I played a high school game my senior year. We won the state title. We played up there in Jackson and Callaway. Jimmy, I ain't never seen a fight like this, my man. It was bench clearing brawls, fans coming out of the stands, dudes were running over, taking the blades out of the tape cutters. It was the damnest thing I ever seen. It was crazy.
Now, just tell me, why did your team bring blades to a football game? Because I know it wasn't my team.
No, we didn't bring blades. We had the tape cutters. So they came over and they were taking the blades out of the tape cutters. But no, they got it under control. But it was crazy. So, Jimmy, you grew up in Jackson there and ended up going to Jackson State. Now, coming out of high school, did you have any other offers or did you want to stay home and play in the SWAC?
Well, coming out of high school, I had an offer from Mississippi State, had an offer from USM, Southern Mississippi, Alcorn, Jackson State, and Mississippi Valley. That was it. And the reason why I chose Jackson State, back then is because of tradition. My father played at Jackson State.
Gotcha.
And he was a part of the group where I think it was 11 guys may have been drafted in the same year. And so it was an easy choice for me to stay right there at home. So I could always go home and get me some home cooking and wash my clothes 10 minutes away from home.
No doubt about it. Well, you had a great career for the Tigers at Jackson State. You get drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, and good gracious, a lot of guys play a long time, and I know you didn't get to play a whole lot because they had Michael Irvin and that whole crew, Alvin Harper, but you get 2 Super Bowl rings your first 2 years.
Yeah, and that was I was real fortunate to be drafted by that team. When they drafted me, I remember, before they drafted me, I remember talking to the scouts, and they were at the practices just about every day my senior year at Jackson State. And I just came out and asked them, I'm like, why are the Dallas Cowboys here? You guys got Michael Irvin and you got Alvin Harper, and you don't need any receivers. And the thing that he told me, he looked at me and said, we're always looking to get better. And that got my attention, and I will remember that for the rest of my life. Because in my young mind, I'm thinking, so you're saying that I could be better than Michael Irvin. And I carried that throughout my career. Even when I got to the Dallas Cowboys, I watched everything that Michael Irvin did. The steps and how he ran his route, how he kept his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage, his releases, the whole 9 yards. And before my career was over, I was better than Michael Irvin. More catches, more yards, more touchdowns.
Yeah, there's no question about that. We just got a text on the Titan Mark text line. It comes from Alan. He wants to know, Jimmy, back to your Jackson State days, who did you enjoy playing the most, or who is the biggest rival for the Tigers? Is it Alcorn, Grambling, or Mississippi Valley?
Well, that's an easy one. It's Alcorn. And that tradition and that rival has started way before I got there. It's just like the Florida-Georgia game in HBCUs. And a lot of great talent out of there. Steve McNair. Tons of talent have come out of Alcorn.
Yeah, it really has. It's they've had some really, really good players. Okay, so you're with the Cowboys, play mostly special teams, kind of as a backup, and you end up going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. When they start the franchise, it's you, Mark Brunell, Fred Taylor, Keenan McCardell. Keenan and I were together, I think, as rookies in Chicago. He was on the practice squad, and he and I used to just shred during scout team, just shred people. And I'm thinking, man, we had nobody really good at wide receiver. Curtis Conway was a first round. He was a rookie that year too. So he was a good player, but I'm like, I do not know why they don't activate this guy. Well, the Browns signed him off our practice squad, and the rest is history. Just talk about your relationship with Keenan. You guys were called Thunder and Lightning. Probably the best duo back in those days.
Yeah. The best duo in the entire NFL history. Hopefully one day the Hall of Fame voters will start giving us nods as a duo in the Hall of Fame. It was awesome playing with Keenan. We had the same agent, and I remember the day my agent called me at the beginning of 1996 season saying, "Hey, we're going to try and get Keenan to Jacksonville." And I had a problem with it. I'm like, why would you try to get Keenan down to Jacksonville, another wide receiver, when I'm trying to make the team? It's just going to, that's just one more person that I got to compete with to earn a spot on this roster. And what they explained to me was, well, Keenan's a different type of receiver than you are. You are a type of receiver that can stretch the field and, take the top off the defense with your, and playing the perimeter, playing wide receiver on the perimeter outside. Keenan is more like a slot guy. He can work the middle, work the linebackers in the zones. So it made sense to me. And Keenan knew that coming in. And the rest is history. We were able to work together from a competition standpoint and also as teammates. I stretched the field vertically. He tore the middle up. There was competition there, but we also worked together as a team to become one of the best duos in NFL history.
Yeah, we got a Facebook Live question here brought to you by Melvin Law. It's back to your college days. Brandon wants to know, how cool was it having the sonic boom in the stands while playing at Jackson State?
The coolest thing ever. That was the best part about going to Jackson State. We had, back when I was there, we had a lot of talent. We, had just as much talent as anyone in the state, including Ole Miss and Mississippi State. But one thing that we had was that band at halftime. And I'll tell you, it was definitely a pleasure to play in front of one of the best bands in the country.
Yeah. We're speaking with Jimmy Smith here, former Jaguar great, on the Titanmore Hotline from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. How hard was it playing for Tom Coughlin?
Extremely. You can, you see what just happened within the last couple of years with his departure from Jacksonville. We were different types of players back in '95, where, totally different than the players that Coughlin had to deal with today, like the Jalen Ramseys and Calais Campbell. Well, Calais Campbell, he wasn't a problem player. I was trying to think of the other defensive, Mdakwe. Yeah. Those guys had trouble under Coughlin. Those last few years that they were there. It was strange because Coughlin was this militant type coach, and he wasn't going to let anybody relax. He's from that Bill Parcells tree, so you can understand what I'm talking about. That's exactly how it was, and maybe even a little tougher. I remember one game. It was against the Cincinnati Bengals. I scored 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards, maybe 10 catches. And say Tuesdays are an off day, and I just happened to be there on a Tuesday getting treatment, like we always, the NFL routine. And he just happened to come in the treatment room, and he stopped and looked at me, and I'm looking at him like, what? He's like, you're not ready to play this week. I'm like, Coach, it's Tuesday. We just played the game two days ago. That's what I said, And he knew how to keep his players on edge and never to relax. The mature players understood that, but I knew that he was going to struggle with the players of today. You have to have a little more strategy, but it was extremely tough. But once you knew how Coach Coughlin was, you knew how to adjust your attitude and either get on board or get out. That's the way it was.
Yeah. Jimmy, you're a 2-time Super Bowl champ, went to the Pro Bowl 5 times, All-Pro twice. You led the league in receptions in 1999, and then you were inducted into the Pride of the Jaguars. I gotta believe that in being inducted into the Pride of the Jaguars, which is basically a ring of honor, that
Yes.
had to be an unbelievable feeling.
Yeah, Shane, it was a long time coming, man. I put in a lot of work. I'm just happy that the owner, Shad Khan, recognized my talents. I remember him saying, before he bought the team, every highlight reel that he saw, he was going to see number 82 somewhere on that highlight reel. And I just appreciate him calling me that day and acknowledging the fact that he was going to put me into our ring of honor, which is the Pride of the Jaguars.
Jimmy, the NFL now is so offensive driven, and they changed the rules. DBs can't be as physical as they used to be back when you played.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at y'all's offense with you and Keenan at the wideout position, Fred T at the tailback, and Brunell, who I think is a very underrated, really good quarterback.
Yeah.
If y'all were playing today, how explosive would that offense really be?
3D explosive. I think we can compete with the offenses that the offenses of today. But as Shane, we had to deal with. We didn't have that 5-yard check rule, so the defense can, as far as receivers, the defensive back could mess with you all the way down the field. They didn't have the 5-yard check rule early. Maybe the last few years of my career, and also those big hits that you don't hardly see anymore on the receivers across the middle. Well, we had to deal with that also.
Yep.
So it was a different era, and it was much more dangerous as a receiver and tougher to run routes and to get catches than it is today. And personally, that's why I think I should be in the Hall of Fame. But that's another story.
Right. I know. I was going to ask you. Your numbers, they're there. Also,
Yes.
Fred Taylor. Do you think both you and Fred, from a Hall of Fame standpoint, and Tony Baselli as well, I think all y'all are being not looked at because you play for the Jaguars.
Yeah, and thanks again, Shane. It's it's unfortunate, but I've been watching every year since I retired. I've been nominated every year since I been eligible for the Hall of Fame. And I've just noticed a pattern. When the Jaguars win, we get more attention as far as Hall of Fame considerations. I have noticed that. When the current team wins, we as old players get more acknowledgement or attention as far as, those Hall of Fame considerations. So it's been tough. It's been frustrating because with Baselli, I hear, well, he didn't play long enough, or he played against an aging Bruce Smith. And with me and Fred, it's just, he played for the Jaguars. We didn't see them enough on TV. Mm-hmm. But you can't tell anybody that in Northern Florida, can you, Shane?
No, not at all. Not at all. A few more seconds here, a few more minutes with Jimmy Smith. Jimmy, your son, is he still at Wyoming playing football?
Yes. My son is on a 7-year scholarship. He spent it's unreal. He's a little embarrassed about it. I'm like, dude, are you crazy? I mean, you have been on a 7-year scholarship. So the first out of Madison Central High School, he was a pretty sought after recruit, and he went to Louisville. Got to Louisville, and things didn't go quite like we planned. He wasn't getting the playing time. The offense there was all Lamar Jackson. That was the running game, and he got just caught up, behind the numbers. And it happens all the time, Shane. And he called me one day, said, "Dad, I want to get out of here. I'm graduating in 3.5 years, and I want to transfer." I was against it. I was telling him, you got to hang in there and bust your butt and earn that spot. He said, "It's not going to happen here, Dad." So I just had to roll with it. I'm like, "Where are you going?" He said, "I've already put in the transfer portal to go to the University of Wyoming." He had already made that decision. So I'm like, well, you know what? I got to trust him. You know, he's a young man. He knows what he's doing. He's always done well. And he's gone up to Wyoming and really, really made a name for himself. And in the master's program and with COVID hitting, that gave them an extra year. He'll be finishing his master's next December. And I just hope and pray he has a good, successful senior year this year coming up, playing for the Wyoming Cowboys. He's already getting a little attention from, filling out questionnaires. Kids get excited when they start filling out the questionnaires for the NFL. So he's getting a little excited. So that's motivating him a little bit. But I'm extremely proud of him, mostly because of his finishing his master's, but also as his chances of getting to the NFL.
Yep, that's good stuff. Last thing for you, Jimmy, before we let you go. If you were to be able to play in the NFL right now, which quarterback would you want?
NFL right now? Ooh. Well,
who would you want throwing the ball to Jimmy Smith?
I wish I had Shane Matthews for a couple of years. I wouldn't have this. But I would have to go with Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
I would have to go with Aaron Rodgers, man, because I know everybody, thinks of Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is good too, but I just don't. That Aaron Rodgers is, once I'm still amazed at his age how accurate he is and the arm strength that he still has.
Well, Jimmy, we appreciate you, buddy. We'll still keep our fingers crossed for the Hall of Fame, but I know the Jaguar fans love them some Jimmy Smith, and we appreciate you joining the program today, my man.
Well, saying you my homeboy, man, watched your career. Used to hear about you all the time from Pascagoula, right?
That's right.
All the way to the University of Florida. You were, you had a great career yourself, my friend, and I appreciate being on your show today.
Absolutely. That's Jimmy Smith. Join us on the Titan MR Hotline. We're going to wrap up this Tuesday edition, and we'll see you tomorrow.